Good evening, everyone. Maazi Ezeoke speaking to us. Today, as usual, we are going to Hangout. It's Friday. Yeah, where is it? It's Friday. It's Friday. We're going to hang out. Thank God it is Friday. So, everyone, how are we doing? Let me take just a minute or two to give a shout out to all the fans watching from all over the world. Many of you. If you tell me where you are watching me from in the next 1 minute, just get busy. Just before you do, like the stream, go to the comment section, tell me where you're watching from, then I'll give you a shout out. I just want to know, average where many of you are watching me from. Someone says he or she is watching from the UAE, no UAR, United United something Republic. I don't want to say the A word because. Okay, so people, it's going to be an interesting evening. It's my usual hangout where you have to make sure that you have something drinking. If you don't have anything to drink, you can buy you one or you can buy me one. This is the only one I have. Let me actually taste something. That's very good. So let's get rolling. Oh, I have Eagle King watching from Chicago. I have Grace Ugbalase watching from Cambridge, the United Kingdom. And I have John Nebuchukwu watching from the ancient Benin city, the Benin Kingdom. I have Kumi Paye watching from the Avimbola Avi. I see I caught you there. That's my very good lawyer friend in the United Kingdom, the Abimbola, watching from the United Kingdom. I have Olabode Obafemi, Maryland, the United Kingdom. Honestly, it appears my shows when it's a little bit late is for the diasporans. But again, even if it is, the diasporans are doing the diaspora. You guys are doing an amazing job. Basically, I must give it to you guys. You guys work so hard, and I keep telling people here, if Nigerians back home, if Nigerians in Nigeria would work 30% as hard as you guys work in the diaspora, Nigeria as a nation would be a much, much way better place to be. ND Okoli, thank you for watching from Spain, Madrid to be precise. Wow. I so much love Madrid. But for some reason, I think I like Barcelona better. Maybe because of their food, and Barcelona, in my view, have better shops. I do like shopping. I can't forget my experience. Spanish people are not. Well, sometimes they can be tall, but I went into Zara to buy something. Normally, my waist is 36. Okay, now I'm giving you my secret. I've lost weight. I'm still losing weight. According to the president, I'm still losing weight. So I bought this trouser from Zara, and I went home. He was a Spanish 36. Somehow I think I should lose more weight.
I would like to use a different approach in the fight against insecurity, especially kidnapping, which is a big issue now, sir.
No, I have just seen the IG. I think he is still losing weight.
So I got into my hotel and I said to myself, Maazi, you need to lose more weight. So, like the president advised me, Mr. President, I take your advice not very lightly. I'm going to be losing weight. So thank you once more, everyone, for joining me. I have Osita Paul Ojuku from Vienna. Osita, is Aktan schon guten Abend. Wie geht es dir? Ich hoffe, alles gut bei euch. Ne? Vienna, Österreich. Ach, da liebe ich. Ich liebe die, I love the mountain areas of Vienna. I love them. I love them. If you're driving to Vienna, if you're driving into Austria, I must warn you, if you haven't driven there, I have many times. you have to buy a sticker. You need to buy a sticker at the tankstelle. What's the tankstelle? Petrol station. Stick it in front of your car to allow you to, it's EU. That means nothing good. They have one of the good motorways, honestly. Very mountainous area, but you need to pay to drive on the motorway. So even if as a foreigner. But here we want everything free. Even the one we pay, the government vamoose all the money. See, the reason why you see all the politicians, they have big tummy. It's very hard to see politicians with flat tummy because they very gluttonous. They swallow everything. In fact, everything swallowable. Everything is in their tummy. They build skyscrapers, monument for skyscrapers to, it goes like this rather than going up. It shoots out. Don't be surprised that many of them can't even, when they look down, they can't even see their belts. You see? Junior is watching from South Africa, and mir geht's gut, danke und selber. Und selbst, ja, mir geht's auch gut, mir geht hervorragend eigentlich. Es klappert die Mühle am rauschenden Wach. Clip, clap, clip, clap, clip, clap. Uche Elekwa. Aha. Uche Elekwa, please. I need can you send me an email, please, Uche Elekwa? Send me an email let me quickly drop you my email. You are one of those that got what the area father was drinking last week, and there were some money that was won. So if you may, you can call me on the number. Let me bring the number on the screen, or you call me on WhatsApp on that number, or you can also send me an email at either you inbox me via Twitter at Maazi Ezeoke, Maazi Ezeoke, or you send me an email to my private email handle, or rather email address, which is maaziezeoke@gmail.com, or you send it to the one of Njenje Media and they will forward it to me, which is njenjemedia@gmail.com. Or you can also send info@njenjemedia.com or publisher@njenjemedia.com, whichever one you want to use. I want to obviously make sure that you get whatever that is due to you. And when you do Uche Elekwa, please kindly tell me your location, so we'll see how you get what you want. So people, Nedi Nwanaforo from the United Kingdom. Okay, so done. Now let's get the ball rolling, people. Today, let's look at a recap of FKK Decamping. I did an extensive, presentation on it yesterday. I'm not really going to do it again, but I found interesting view from what the Arise team did this morning. That's the only reason. But be that as it may, like I said, I was surprised yesterday that I slept and I woke up and Jesus didn't come. And many of you who didn't watch me yesterday will be wondering, why is Maazi talking about Jesus coming? I thought Jesus was coming yesterday. Honestly. I was watching, I was thinking. At some point, I was like, okay, maybe at least all of you know that I'm very holy manager, sent. Maybe while I was talking, I would have raptured, you probably see Maazi naked and the clothes, everything gone under, and Maazi will be holy. Go up. Why am I saying this? If you're confused, why am I saying this? Because I thought Jesus was going to come last night because of this. Watch.
Some of the stance that you had is giving you this kind of trouble that you're seeing today. Is in crisis right now.
Yeah.
Are you sticking with the party?
But of course, the PDP is my party. I will never leave the party.
You're never considering going back to the APC?
I would never. The APC, absolutely out of the question. Until kingdom comes, until Jesus returns, that will never happen.
But you left the PDP for the APC.
Well, we've discussed that on many.
Until Jesus comes. So at some point I was thinking, okay, maybe Jesus is not coming. Until Jesus comes. Anyway, that's by the way. So let's get cracking with today's presentation.
Femi Fani-Kayode, the former Minister of Aviation, was trending on social media after news that he had joined the ruling All Progressives Congress began circulating online. The former minister's defection comes several months after he vehemently denied dumping the People's Democratic Party. Fani-Kayode was on Thursday presented to President Muhammadu Buhari by Mai Mala Buni, Chairman Caretaker Committee of the APC, and the Governor of Yobe State at the presidential villa in Abuja. Well, according to Fani-Kayode, he was led by the Spirit of God in his decision to join the APC. Well, some Nigerians on social media commenting on the news recalled when the former minister on several occasions rejected the APC. Well, before we take some reactions, let's take a quick listen to an interview he granted in 2015, which has now gone viral.
These people want to take power at all costs. Buhari himself, when he was asked just a few days ago, if you lose the election, what will happen? He said that will never happen, and if it happens, we will see what will happen after that. It is threat after threat. I don't believe that the Nigerian people will ever vote for a man that believes that we should drag this country back. A man with a pitiful and disgraceful record. When he was in power, he locked people up, he created people, he killed people with retroactive legislation, he carried people on the streets of London illegally, turned Nigeria into a pariah nation, a man that looted PTF, and I say that because the report, I was in government when the Haruna Adamu report was filed, I discussed it with President Obasanjo at the time, I know what the President told myself and Aki Oshutoku privately, if not for the fact that the main person in that report, that is a man by Siraju, an in-law Buhari, dropped dead the day that we decided to prosecute Buhari for it. That man would have been the key prosecution witness and Buhari would have been in jail by now.
Well, Rufai, I guess
into the hands of elite.
Now, sorry about this, but let me say something here. I'll go back to the Arise team, but before I do, let's look at this clean analogy of what African politicians are. You see what you think about this.
Africa's politics have fallen into the hands of elites, as the Nigerians would call them. These are a class of people who are pure business politicians, and business and politics go together in Africa. You cannot stand as a poor man. I came across a wonderful example the other day from Kenya, where a man who cycled around on a bicycle was trying to get himself elected, and the people just laughed at him and they say, "You've only got a bicycle. What can you do for us? We need a big man with a big car with money. That's the politician we need to." So there's this mentality, which I think has allowed a very small group of people to take over those countries politically, but also economically, and that's why you have something like, I think the World Bank says, between 60 and 70% of Africa's capital shifted out of the continent. It's in banks in Europe and Asia and maybe America as well. But these people just do what the colonialists did, which was suck the wealth out and shift it overseas. And until that changes, that is, until there's a new generation or even a revolution that actually takes power back to African people, I think those problems, that lack of development, will continue.
So people, you've seen it. I mean, I think for me, that statement was very instructive. This is where we've left ourselves as Africans. You know, the analogy is, in my view, very spot on, very, very spot on. But again, let's go back to the Arise team and continue with the analogy.
Where he said President Muhammadu Buhari is not the same man as before.
You know what I said yesterday? I said two things here, and I'm going to repeat it. If, according to him, the things he said then was out of ignorance, now he knows better, then he must apologize to President Buhari for saying those things that he said then, if obviously, because I mean that's a simple logic.
And that he has changed, and that the APC is not the same party as before. I hope that he gets to apologize to the president for these comments he's made so far.
So it's obvious that it's the Holy Spirit that told him that President Buhari has.
Chai, Holy Spirit, you don't suffer. Holy Spirit, what type of spirit is this? Is it Akbatashi spirit or what?
It's changed because he said the Holy Spirit informed this decision. But I'm not surprised though. In fact, my reaction would be what took FFK though so long? Because I thought they had confirmed it when he had that photo up with Yaya Bello.
Exactly.
That's
so
the
what took him
problem
so
right now.
long to offer? Okay, maybe because he needed the photo up with the president. You see, there's a book, Don't Die in Their War. I forget his name now.
Now, follow to me. Exactly this. One of the reasons I'm doing this again, is for us to understand something. Not in this world must you be so stupid and silly. No matter who that is, even if it's a freedom fighter, do not die in their wars. There is always something underlying beneath that you do not see. Do not, in any circumstances, die in their wars.
Dele Farotimi. And this is just to show a lot of people that have followed FFK as a beacon of their hope. That see, in the end, it's just a politician. And for politicians, it's a game of who is bankrolling them. So the question now that has been answered, that who is bankrolling FFK now? It is the APC that is bankrolling him now by this defection, and he has gone to who can bankroll him best. So for me, it's not surprising. Like he rants fire and brimstone. It's a politician. If a politician tells you it's raining, go check. It's sunny out there. Charlie Gore, equally a politician himself, says that politicians will say they'll build bridges where there are no rivers.
Yeah.
So I'm not so, and I don't see the reason why this should be.
Did you understand that? Politicians will tell you they will build bridges where there are no rivers. Do you now understand the reason why we will be building naval base in Kanu where there is no water?
It's just an indication that we don't know and we trust them so much.
Oh, you don't know why. It's because of what you have just said.
Let me put the caveat.
Yeah.
Peradventure, if the PDP, peradventure, wins 2023 election, the Holy Spirit will tell FFK to go back to the PDP.
Hi. Rufai, I didn't know you are this wicked. So Rufai can now predict the Holy Spirit. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Rufai, in fact, I'm going to give you an applause for you. An applause for you. Oh, Jesus Christ, Rufai.
Rufai, Tundu Abiola, your comment on this story before I take a reaction.
Okay, you came with receipts. All I could think watching that was that saying, keep your words soft and sweet in case you have to eat them. But I don't see any kind of apology coming FFK's way towards President Buhari.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think the decamping is enough of an apology. I think they all understand in this business that all is fair in love and war, and all is fair in politics. They take these shots, hit below the belt, say all kinds of vilifications about one another 1 minute, and then the next minute, they're in the same party. Politics has always made strange bedfellows. But in this case, I'm worried about Nigeria and the electorate.
Right.
And like I said a few minutes ago, there's a really good book by Teresa Amato talking about how difficult it is for independent candidates in U.S. elections to get their foot in the door. But the title of the book is what comes to mind. She called it Grand Illusion, then there's a colon. The myth of a two-party system, the illusion of choice in a two-party tyranny. I think that's what we're dealing with here in Nigeria. I feel that the APC, PDP, two-party system is really just in quotes. There's really one party, actually, and it depends on who you're cool with.
It's actually called the party of stomach infrastructure. There is nothing more, nothing less. No addition, no subtraction.
At that given time, it depends on what you want, your selfish, short-sighted ambitions, and that's really all that matters.
Yes.
Zero ideology. It's sad.
Well, people on social media are not forgiving him. They are pulling up different videos and tweets. Let's pull up a tweet before I come to you, Dr. Buddy, which the former minister wrote back in 2019. He wrote, "I am committed to opposing the APC and those that are in their ranks for the rest of my natural life. And I will never join them, no matter what. They are nothing but darkness, while I stand for the light of God and truth. There can be no fellowship between light and darkness."
I tell you, sometimes I feel like maybe I should have pity on God's self, because the way his name is being used by right, left, and center to a level of abuse is legendary.
Dr. Abati, over to you.
Well, I understand why, Femi Fani-Kaode's vote for us and his decision to join the All Progressives Congress is generating enormous amount of interest. He was one of the most outspoken opposition figures in the last 5-6 years. He was media director, campaign director for the 2015 PDP presidential campaign. And between 2015 to date, he's been very critical, particularly of President Muhammadu Buhari, whom he accuses of being an ethnic bigot, whom he accuses of running a Fulanization agenda. And he described the party, the APC, as a filthy rat-infested Majiri People's Congress. And then, of course, that tweet you took about the difference between light and darkness. So the question is, has Fani-Kaode gone to join the ethnic bigots? Has he crossed over to go and join a rat-infested and filthy ship so that he can share out of the debt, that is inside that ship? So that vote for us, that turnaround, 360 degrees, is what people find shocking. Considering the fact that he's a man who is always emphatic in expressing his views. We talked about the Spirit of God. Well, it shouldn't be strange that he's talking about God and conviction. He's also a pastor, a Pentecostal preacher. So he knows the Bible very well. Then when he said the Spirit of God, what I remembered was Acts 9, verses 1 to 19, which is the section of the Bible that talks about Saul's conversion on the road to Damascus. So this is a road to Damascus moment for Femi Fani-Kaode. In the Bible, Saul was told, Saul, why do you persecute me? So did Fani-Kaode hear that voice from President Buhari? And now, this Damascus moment, it's important to see how he manages it. He says he has seen changes in the APC. I hope he will help the APC to explain those changes better to the Nigerian people. He says he's now inside. And now that he's inside, he has had the benefit of ringside observation, and that he's been working from inside to, in fact, help people from the APC to join from the PDP to join the APC, including Governor Ngwanyi. So, can we say that Femi Fani-Kaode, even inside the PDP, was committing anti-party atrocities? But of course, he's an adult, he's covered by the Constitution. He has the right, the absolute right, to the right of association. He's a lawyer, so he knows. And that's why he says, whether you love me or you hate me, it doesn't matter. He has the absolute right to his own choice. That President Buhari would put him to good use, because he's a man of great talent. And he will be very useful in helping to defend and promote the Buhari administration and in helping to define Buhari legacy. He talks very well, and he's very brilliant. If I were to advise the president directly, I'll say, okay, find another assignment for Alhaji Lai Mohammed, and let's have Femi Fani-Kaode as the main spokesperson for this government.
You're the special advisor, Dr. Abati.
Well, he does have the gift of the gab, that's true.
Well, in another development, users on social media have reacted to reports indicating that Senator Shehu Sani, who represented Kaduna Central Senatorial District in the 8th Assembly from 2015 to 2019 on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, has joined the People's Democratic Party. Well, let's take an Instagram reaction from author and activist Reno Omokri, who wrote, "The PDP lost FFK and gained Shehu Sani. I would say that it's like Manchester United losing Sergio Romero and gaining Cristiano Ronaldo. That is a net gain indeed. Congratulations, PDP. Congratulations, Shehu Sani. #table shaker. Quickly."
So, and that ends my submission this evening on this. And I'll say to us once more, I repeat what I said before. Do not die in their wars. Do not die in their wars. This is their conflict. It's better to watch, create content out of them, watch them, analyze them, but do not take them serious to the point of engaging and dying in their own wars. Now, before I do that, I continue. I would, yesterday, Femi Kaode made he alluded to the point that actually he was instrumental in the governor of Ebonyi State decamping to the APC. And this morning, Governor Dave Umahi, who also is the chairman Southeastern Governors Forum, came out to debunk that and said, no, actually, he wasn't, and he should apologize. Watch.
You were in the PDP, now in the APC. Just yesterday, one of another major generals in the PDP is now in the APC, and he said he was quite instrumental to your move from the PDP to the APC. Is that what tipped the whole process and made you move to the APC?
I think he needs to withdraw that statement. He's my good friend. But it was, an insult of my person and the other governors. The man did not know when I moved, but incidentally, he visited me and we discussed. And he said he was coming to join me with the other governors to declare. How would somebody in PDP be instrumental to my moving? A whole governor of the state, and they're not even a small governor, an experienced governor. So he has to withdraw the statement. He was never part of any discussion of my movement. I moved to move southeast to the center of administration. I moved to close the gap, between the center and southeast, which our forefathers fought for, like Nnamdi Azikiwe. So, for somebody to come and say that a whole chairman of Southeast Governors Forum, he was instrumental to that, it's a bit an insult on my person. And with due respect, he has to withdraw that statement. He remains my friend and a good one for that matter, but he played no role in my movement, and I'm sure he didn't play any role in the movement of the rest of us.
So, people, you've heard Dave Umahi actually debunk that. Obviously, I can guarantee you that someone like the governor of Enugu State will probably do the same. However, yesterday I asked us a question, and I said I was going to share the question, the answer to that question with us, and somewhat earlier today we found out that my president was also seen in the corridors of Aso in the Rock today. I think many of you following us on this Njenge Media, you would have seen that in the community section where that was posted earlier today, about an hour immediately after that meeting in Aso Rock finished. And reason why I said that yesterday was because we had some information that meeting was going to hold today, and truth to the information we got, the meeting held. What am I saying? 2023 is kicked off. It's now hot. Do not be surprised if you wake up one day, don't have heart attack. That's what I say to you. Do not die in their wars. Do not take them too serious. Do not. See, the reason why I'm the dotted one, because you give me lemonade. If you give me lemon, I'll make lemonade out of it. Do not die in their wars. Jonathan was saying in Aso Rock today, there are a lot of horse trading negotiation going up and down. So do not be surprised when you hear that a former president under the People's Democratic Party probably is no more within the party. Not my mouth, and I go here say I talk him because I see they see me. So I am feeling like the Nigerian economy. I am doing like this. I am doing like this.
Our economic is doing like this. It's doing like this. It's blinking, shaking.
Now I'm moving away from Femi Kayode. I'm doing like this, and I'm now landed. Where did I land? Nigerian economy. Many of you will know Aboki FX, especially those of you in the diaspora. If you want to know quickly, know how much is dollar to pounds, dollar to naira, naira to naira to pounds, naira to whichever currency. That's the first place you go. Suddenly, the CBN, because of their incompetence, because of their mismanagement of the naira, naira has gone to 570. And these Aboki FX is owned by this Yoruba guy. And he's been trading, he's been basically, honestly, I don't understand because it's pure madness. So this guy has been doing what he's been doing, just like a normal website. He doesn't necessarily trade. Well, let me not say he doesn't necessarily, but at least what he does is he publishes the black market rate. Today, CBN, your Central Bank of Nigeria, under the leadership of Godwin Emefiele, the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, says that the Apex Bank will track Onawinde Adedotum, the founder of these Aboki FX, that they're going to track him down. What is his crime? Bear in mind that Aboki FX is a web platform that reports movement in foreign exchange markets since early 2014. You ask yourself, dollar to naira is selling this amount. Somebody reports how much he sells. How in God's name is that person committing a crime? But CBN will rather than them finding a way to make sure that naira is stabilized. Remember, during the 2015 campaign, APC made us very big bold, placard. You are buying naira at 216. Are you happy? Is it the change you wanted? Vote APC. We are going to make it better. Suddenly, even when the president was in nowhere, he made that statement of 1 naira going to equal $1, that he was going to stabilize it. But rather than do all these things, what do we see? What we now see is that dollar is 750. Well, $1 equals 570 naira. Sorry. I repeat, $1 equals 570 naira. That's in the parallel market. Question is, why is Emefiele doing this? Why? According to a report published by the cable said, they quoted Emefiele as saying, I am sorry to say that I do not intend to recognize any effects in the market. Go to your bank, even if your limit is above what your bank is selling, put it forward and we will look into it. If you want to sell the dollar, go to your bank and sell it. I want to sell the... It's why this policy is already dead on arrival, because those in charge of the economy will know that if you force everybody to go to bank, if you have ever come to Lagos, you come towards Aklere in Sulere, you're driving, you're on Okada, the moment you match your brake, you see flock of adults coming to you. So if you're ever been in Port Harcourt, you come near the Presidential Hotel in the GRA area, you see people flocking to you. Are you changing dollar? Are you changing dollar? Now, if this policy is driven, is pushed the way the governor of Central Bank is saying, what's going to happen to those people? You see the reason why I don't even take him serious? Sorry, Emefiele, if you're watching, I don't take you serious. Reason is because even if you want, you can't. You can't drive the policy. So you better find another way. And what you're also doing to shut down Aboki FX, literally, because that's what it means. To shut it down means one thing. You are doing the same thing that the federal government incompetently did with Twitter. Did it stop anyone from not tweeting? Every day we are on Twitter. You don't even need to download VPN. Just go to your setting. If you're using an iPhone, just put in, there is inbuilt VPN there. The rest is history. So these things, you guys need to wake up. What manner? Honestly, sometimes I'm short of words, honestly. So Aboki FX is now our issue. Central Bank of Nigeria, okay, that Aboki FX was registered in the United Kingdom, November 2015, and it was owned by one person who claimed to be there, where blah, 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 blah. Or there are other websites, even if you're designing a common website, there are plugins. You just buy these plugins. If you're using Joomla, if you're using WordPress or whatever, even Wix, there are plugins. You pay peanuts, and they plug in their APIs to your website, and these things get fed in every single day. So, is it that you guys don't understand basic technology to be driving this type of useless narrative? Sorry, but that's what it is. That's what it is. You know, it's time that we get serious, honestly. Anyway, that's on the economy, because the economy it's blinking. The economy is blinking.
Our economic is doing like this. It's doing like this. It's blinking, shaking, blinking, shaking.
So because the economy is blinking, shaking, I'm no longer happiness more. But on another note, there is an interview done earlier today by Senator Enyinia Baribe that we would discuss as well. But before I get into that, let me get to the issue of VAT, because this is a very interesting thing that actually happened now, that the governors of the South, the whole 17 governors of the South, when they met yesterday in Enugu, part of their resolution is that they are now supporting that state should collect VAT. That will now open us to get into more details and discuss this about the VAT. You know, it was one of the last topics that I said yesterday, because we have run out of time. Wasn't going to discuss that, but let's quickly dive in today and do justice to it.
Stress the need for them to leverage on legislative competence of their various state houses of assembly and their federal lawmakers to ensure the inclusion of fiscal federalism in the Nigerian Constitution through the ongoing constitutional amendment process. All right, Tundu, fiscal federalism, VAT, Southern Governors Meeting, all of this as we play around for 2023.
Well, yes. I'm not sure that it's actually within the powers of governors to decide that VAT will go to the state. I think that...
Well, basically, we all know now that the narrative is very simple. The Supreme Court is going to decide. But again, remember, we shouldn't lose sight of this, that the governors, the way they've now, by the virtue of the way the northern governors have asserted themselves to become a pressure group, they are doing the same thing. Now, the southern governors have suddenly also become a pressure group. You know, when we were small, when we play football, we play draw, we call it GG. I don't even know what that GG means. G as in golf, you know, GG. But when we say draw is D, what I don't even know. So that's the same way now. The southern governors are coming together now as a pressure group to say, okay, this is what we... Don't get me wrong. Aside maybe 3-4 state max within the whole South, every other state, if this VAT thing goes implemented the way it is today, the way they've been pushing it, every other state aside 3 or 4 states will suffer. But it is better. That's the restructuring we've been calling for. It is better to suffer at the short term and eventually at the long term, that our brains will now open up, that will begin to find ways to generate more revenues and run our state efficiently.
For another arm of government, the legislature and the judiciary, not the executive. But having said that, we all await the outcome in the Supreme Court, that showdown between River State, now that Lagos State has joined, and the FIRS. But I also find it very interesting that I just feel we keep talking on this show now about federalism. You cannot stop an idea whose time has come. The mistake I feel that the APC made was that they were right in putting federalism front and center on their electoral manifesto, which is why we had that near impossible feat of that exchange of power from an incumbent president to a presidential contender because of factors like restructuring. There was a clamor for it. You cannot beat the zeitgeist. You must join it. The APC, instead of tapping into the zeitgeist and leading, they're now sort of being dragged along, aren't they? Everybody wants federalism on all levels, fiscal and otherwise. So that's also very important. This is just where we are now. This Southern Governors Forum is bipartisan, and they're all in agreement. The most, vast majority of the Nigerian public, all in agreement. The time has come for federalism, restructuring. It's now. Has to happen. The other issue for me that I found very interesting was talking about constitutional amendments. Obviously, that needs to go through the National Assembly, 2/3 majority, Senate, and House of Reps, according to our Constitution, I think Section 9 of the Constitution, and then has to go through 24 states out of 36 states. So that's where the governors come in. And we know the power of the governors. We've always talked about how state houses of assembly are largely just rubber stamps. The governors are almost omnipotent in their states, and they can get that done. The time has come, and I'm really excited to see this moving train, finally, so that Nigeria can function.
Abati?
Okay, this is the 3rd meeting of the Southern Governors Forum, 17 of them. Their inaugural meeting was on 11th May in Asaba, Delta State. And at that meeting, they had reached certain decisions about security, about open grazing, about the 2023 presidency of Nigeria being zoned to the south, and also about a number of other issues. They had another meeting. I think it was Lagos that hosted that, and this is their 3rd meeting, hosted by the government of Enugu State. And at the end of the day, they came up with about 6 resolutions, which include 1, expression of satisfaction with the steps that have been taken by some of the states in line with what was agreed on May 11. And indeed, some of the states had initiated or enacted laws with regard to open grazing, which they had resolved was a problem for there are various states in the southern part of the country. Some of the states that have enacted the laws include Ondo State, for example, and I think also Ogun State and some other states that have made laws against open grazing as agreed. Now, second, they talked about fiscal federalism, the need for fiscal federalism in Nigeria. And it was along that line that they further resolved that states must collect value-added tax. A lot of people have focused on this value-added tax. Now, you now find all the 17 governors of the state, of the South, saying we are, of one mind. There is a consensus addendum, as it is said, among all the governors of the southern part of Nigeria, that states should be the ones to collect the VAT. Yes, they may not be in a position to have the final say on it, but they're beginning to operate now as a pressure group. And their opinion you cannot disregard because it is important. They represent their states, and they also speak invariably for the people that they represent. Regardless of whatever happens at the end of the day, when the case goes all the way to the Supreme Court, but it will be on record that these governors at a particular time, were collectively opposed to abuse of fiscal federalism, to the open grazing conflict that has affected the economy of many of the subnationals in the southern part of the country. And they expect to be taken seriously. Now, what is important about this group is that it is a bipartisan group.
Yes.
In other words, some of the governors are, in fact, maybe you say multi-partisan. Some of the governors who were part of this, they belong to different parties.
APC, FEC, FDF, AFGA.
The APC, the PDP, and even AFGA. And you find those governors speaking beyond party lines and saying this is what is in the best interest of our people. It may speak to a...
Yeah, but again, that is what, you see, sorry, but that's what the whole essence, that's the essence of the whole thing. So who cares? Because we have to understand that the parties are nothing but vehicles to a certain destination, be it, personal, whatever it is, let's so be it. It doesn't matter. We want to go to National Stadium, Sulere, Sulere, and you're coming from Ikeja. Who cares if you come through with Kekemawa boat, Uber, your own SUV, your own Lamborghini, your own Innocent or Nord or Ford or whatever? Who cares? What matters is that you get to the destination. So as long as they are protecting, because that is the whole essence here, that they speak up and they protect the interest of southern Nigeria and the larger entity, as it were. That is what the people demand. Again, what led to these things, because people cannot be killed in Iganga. Your forests cannot be occupied by people who pay no rent, who add no value to you. And your people, be it in Ozowan or in Aganga or in Benue, is being massacred. And, people can say whatever they want, but here are a bunch of governors come together to say, okay, now we have to speak on behalf of our people and to get the people, obviously, to assert some level of confidence in whatever is happening.
Polarization in Nigerian politics. But it is significant that, people from a certain part of the country can agree on a set of ideas or principles or options or choices, depending on what you think is the appropriate word. Now, they also talked about the PIA, the Petroleum Industry Act, and the, planned commercialization, privatization of the NNPC. And they said they align themselves with the position that has been taken by the larger Nigerian Governors Forum. And what is the concern of the larger Nigerian Governors Forum? It is simply that the interest of the subnationals was not taken along, and that the representations that they made, their input into that law, was simply ignored. After this particular meeting, there's going to be the next meeting in Rivers State. I think that what the Southern governors are doing beyond partisan interest is to get involved in this big, larger national question in Nigeria about
North and South
equity.
Well,
about
you may call it
justice.
North and South.
And I think that they should be listened to, but who is going to listen to them? It's now for each state, each governor, to converse this, at their various subnational levels. So we look forward to the next meeting. But on VAT, this is a counter, a direct, position taken against the FIRS that keeps saying the National Assembly should amend the law. And people have said, look, the people who are going to amend the law, as I asked for by FIRS, are they not from the states, governed by many of these governors? So what you will find, even if the lawmakers try to amend the law, will be a battle royale with the governors and everybody else involved in it. But as for the conversation around restructuring, there is a consensus across all lines, even geographical, that Nigeria cannot continue the way it is.
Dr. But you said the battle royale, but the conversation and the horse trading as regards the future of Nigeria is fast becoming the scene in the Casino Royale. All right, that's about it this morning. We'll take a short break on the morning show. When we return,
Okay, so that's that much on that. But again, on another note, I have here Dr. Olisa Bokaba, SAN, who also gave a brilliant, in my view, brilliant insight into explaining these VAT confusion.
Something great here. But what's the bigger picture in a country where many states are financially beholden onto the federal government?
Yeah, the bigger picture is the issue of fiscal federalism. The issue is also one of governance responsibility. So just quickly on the point about Mr. Wike's case in court, I mean, I applaud him for going to court, and I think everyone whose rights are, abridged must go to court to determine whether he is right to do so. So I think Wike is in the right direction, but in looking at some of the details, it may not quite appear as if Wike's point is to get more money, then I'm not sure that that's what might happen, because VAT is about 2 trillion naira, and the federal government controls foreign. There are two aspects of VAT, which may not be well known to people: foreign VAT and local. So foreign VAT comes from imports. The government of Nigeria controls foreign VAT. The government of Nigeria is getting about 300 billion right now. But if Wike's case succeeds, then the federal government of Nigeria's position would be, okay, we'll keep all the monies from foreign VAT, and therefore they'll be going to about 800 billion. So from that point of view on numbers, I'm not sure that that may necessarily be the point Wike is trying to drive. But if the issue is fiscal federalism, we need to control the resources in our various states and regions, then I think there's a broader issue that will play out. And in the midst of tight revenues across Nigeria, so many states are actually going to court on diverse issues. So we're going to see, I've christened it the tax revenue wars that we're now seeing. One is coming up in the Supreme Court on the 4th of October, and I'm part of that one. But what may be interesting is that it may lead to more accountability, because I see that in the first quarter of next year, a lot of states, if the VAT thing is broken down into 37 VAT regimes, including the FCT, a lot of states will realize that they're not getting as much, and there might be a need to launch new tax regimes.
And the people, I mean, obviously, I hope you understand what he's saying, because if that happens, the people, you and I would eventually, because some states, if they're not getting enough, obviously people have to pay multiple taxes.
Inheritance tax is a very big possibility. Capital gains tax is another big possibility. Now, with all...
Even the one I call the mansion tax, all the mansions we build in the villages. I was already said it one time. Some people wanted to yank my head off, but people, listen. No matter how you look at it, there ought to be, because I am of the opinion that once people begin to pay tax and they start hurting them, it gingers you and pushes you to begin to demand for more accountability. Imagine where you pay a toll. You're crossing the second Niger Bridge, for instance. Hypothetically, next year, second Niger Bridge is open. And there in the middle is a very big pothole. You don't know, because you think second Niger Bridge is done and it's running very well. And you just bought a new car, 20 million naira, and you're speeding maybe 80 to 100 kilometers per hour on that, and boom, you get into this and your rim splits into two. Now, to repair that, maybe to change the rim, change your tires, total expenditure 120,000. What do you think will happen? Because you have paid for that toll, it is the duty of whoever manages that toll to make sure that the roads are in good shape. Now, the pain of that amount you have paid must push you to demand that your tire is replaced. Your tire, your rims, and probably you can argue about lost hours. Question then is, if you then go to court, the state eventually, or whoever manages it, having paid lawyers instead of paying 120,000 as you've demanded, and they ended up losing 500, 600, maybe 1 million. Do you think that next day they will still allow potholes to be there? There is something that must make us to be, or leaders and institutions to act.
These new taxes coming out, I suspect that we, the voters affected directly, might demand more accountability, and that will be
exactly what I said. Because the moment we getting taxed, we begin to demand more accountability.
If for the first time in Nigeria, we would have voters knowing that they are paying so much for governance and they're getting bad government,
exactly.
And then say, you know what, this time around, we're going to make sure that the right people who we want to lead us get into office. So there's a lot that might play out from Mr. Wike's endeavors in Port Harcourt.
And there's a lot of very interesting things that you've said there, Dr. Abakoba. One of them that caught my attention is the issue of tax wars. I mean, we'll take them one after the other, because you also talked about, the foreign VAT versus local VAT, all of that. Really very interesting stuff. But you talked about tax wars. On the face of it, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the expert, but it seems like the states are locked in a battle already with the federal government on several fronts, from VAT to PIA, from NNPC to stamp duty, amid fears, as you correctly pointed out, amid fears of exclusion as a result of dwindling revenues. What do you make of all of that?
Right. Well, again, it will be for the courts to decide. That's the way I see it. I'm not sure on whose side all these issues will end up in the Supreme Court, but I'm not sure on whose side, the issues will fall on what particular tax regime. But I think the important point is if the politicians will realize that in the face of dwindling resources, it's time for them to learn some lessons, new ways of doing things, because all the states are going to have less revenue. Less revenue will mean that you can't afford to have large governments. In 2012, Mr. Rosoya issued a report to limit the size of the federal government. So now that the resources are scarce, I would presume that many states will be looking at offloading and limiting public service, making it smaller. And that's why I said the component of good governance might creep in. So it's all going to be, a series of musical chairs. And I think it's extremely good for democracy, absolutely good. Because for the first time, you might have the voice of the voter playing a role.
On that note, I think, I must conclude here without going into much greater details here. I must agree with Olisa Abakoba essay and here that, for better governance, the way this is playing out, in my estimation, is going to be for the benefit of the people, because yes, some states, even within the South, will suffer. And so what? That is going to bring them to a point of thinking, because it will now be that you're no longer, somebody is contesting to become a governor. It's no longer contesting as to go and share, because that is the only thing they do as of now, to share money. But you must have to sit down, think, be creative. How do we generate money? And again, when you begin to take taxes from people, and when it begins to hurt them, the people will begin to demand greater accountability. Now, on that note, that's going to lead me to my next topic, which is the interview by Senator Enyinia Abaribe Marandibo that he had this morning, because I found that interview very, very interesting. Let's have a review and do an analysis on that interview as the point raised here.
Indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. After the meeting, the Southeast lawmakers reviewed the sit-at-home orders and expressed regret over the incalculable economic losses and hardship they have brought on the region. They condemned in the strongest terms the disruption on Monday of the senior secondary school certificate examination by unidentified armed men who chased away students, teachers, and examiners and set ablaze motorcycles at a secondary school in Njaba, local government area, Imo State. The lawmakers also resolved to intervene and engage the Nigerian government on finding a political solution to crisis in the region and on the detained IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu. Joining us now from Abuja to discuss their meeting, their chances of resolving the crisis in the southeast, and the resolutions reached on Thursday by the Southern Governors Forum is Senator Einaya Abaribe, Senate Minority Leader and former Deputy Governor of Abia State. Good morning, Senator, and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Always a delight to be here.
Well, Senator Abaribe, I think Tundu already identified the major issues. Please, could you share with us the purpose of the Southeast Caucus meeting, the outcome, the major decisions reached, and next steps by that Southeast Caucus, particularly with regard to IPOB and the continued detention of Maazi Nnamdi Kanu?
Ruben, if you look at the meeting, you will see that it was across parties, it was across all divides, and it was the caucus of both the House of Rep and the Senate. And the idea for us was that we had looked at what was happening. It's our constituents that are bearing the brunt of all that has been going on there. And it was necessary for us to take a stand. And that was what we did. And you could see the communique that we issued after the meeting.
I would say before we continue, people, please do your favor and like this stream, like the video and share the video. Kindly subscribe to the channel. I did share before here on the chat, on the comment section, my personal channel, that's Maazi Ezeoke. You could also like and subscribe to that channel. That's my own personal channel, that's not Njinji Media. So please like and share this stream.
Basically, that IPOB itself had said that they had called off the sit-at-home. And nobody knows who exactly is going around saying that they were enforcing a non-existent order. The spokesman of IPOB is Emma Powerful, who had issued a statement to that effect. And I think Governor Peter Obi said it the other day that maybe some other actors have joined, criminals, cultists, all manners of people, and are using the sit-at-home to perpetrate mayhem in the Southeast. And we all condemned it in its entirety. And we also felt that if the grown norm, let's say the reason for all this has to do with the incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu, just like we had done earlier, that we should try to engage the authorities and make sure that we can find a solution that will be palatable to all sides. And that's exactly the kernel of what we discussed.
Right, I want to talk about that possibility that you feel exists of a political solution to the current incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu. What exactly is the likelihood of this political solution? What angle are you approaching negotiations with the Federal Republic, if at all you're considering that? Can you take us through what you're thinking in terms of plans for that?
Well, I guess that there is nothing that you cannot be negotiated. There's nothing that you cannot come and say, let us have a discussion on. And we intend that we will also engage the authorities, the federal authorities, And, there are two aspects to this. If we can find a resolution, a way forward, then we will approach the legal side, because we know that there are some legal issues also involved there. It's not going to be easy. We do not think that it's just a walk in the park, but we know that it's better to talk than to let things continue to slide the way it was going. Because you could see that it degenerated into not even letting children go to school and all that, go take exams and so forth. And that's not in our character. And we felt that we need to come in and decisively step into the matter. Of course, with every other stakeholder, the Ohanese, the governors, and every other person, we think that there's still a chance at a negotiated settlement.
Oh, and we'll come back to you, Senator Ina Barabe, and we'll talk some more. All right, welcome back. We still have Senator Ina Barabe, Senate Minority Leader, former Deputy Governor of Abia State. Senator, good to have this conversation with you. So the last time you were here, you talked about the possibility of some people, causing all this mayhem, and you kept on saying it's not IPOB. With this, now that you've said, can we hold you by that by saying maybe some other actors are causing all of this? And probably who are those actors? And secondly, I'd like to talk to you about all of this sort of rapprochement. Is it because of the president visited? Is it because there was a dialogue, by some Igbo leaders with the president? How is all of this connected to the president's visit? And then there's some other things, because media was shut out of that hall, that request you made from the president from that visit that we should know about, at least to allay fears and calm people down?
Well, if I take what you said earlier, first of all, IPOB on its own said that there should be no more sit at home, and that people should go about their businesses, legitimate businesses, and all that. Yet, there were some people who attacked people who were going about their business, saying that, that there should be a lockdown, meaning that nobody now knows who was enforcing what. And that's why we felt that those who are enforcing it could not have been the people who also said, let there be no sit down. That is why we are saying that it must have been elements that we do not know. And we actually also suggested that both the governors and the security agencies work hand in hand and fish out those who are doing this, because this is detrimental to our welfare and the economy of the Southeast. On the matter of what was discussed with the president, I wasn't there, but I know that the speech that was read by the president of Ohanese was released to the press. And in all, what everybody wants is to have peace in your place, because without peace, you can't have any development, you can't have any movement, you can't have anything. And I think that each and every one of us pulling from different strands will probably bring to to our people the required resolutions of that they want. Secondly, we also feel that there is an attempt to introduce into the Southeast something that is alien to us, which is these incessant killings and assassinations and so forth. It doesn't happen. It's not us. Our ethos as Ndibo is Onyagala one. We don't forsake your brother. So
Yes.
That brothers are killing brothers and that all these type of things are happening, we think is alien to our character. And that's why we feel.
I mean, Maga, may God bless you, because this reaffirmed my position. This is not us. This is on Igbo. No matter how you slice it, no matter how you dice it, this is on
that
Igbo.
the sooner every other person comes in and we find out who and take out those who are doing this, the better for every one of us in the Southeast. That's exactly the situation now.
Well, Senator, two quick things. The Southern Governors Forum, 17 governors, some of them represented by their deputies, met yesterday in Enugu, and they came up with a number of resolutions with regard to fiscal federalism, the Petroleum Industry Act, the commercialization of the NNPC, open grazing, and also particularly VAT, which they say should be collected by states. What do you think about this Southern Governors Forum, who again, like the Southeast Caucus that you referred to, met along bipartisan lines? And then secondly, yesterday, one of the strong members of your party, Femi Fani-Kayode, was seen in Aso Villa paying homage to the president and being announced as the newest member of the All Progressives Congress, a party he once described as the Almajiri People's Congress. So he's there now, and he's one of a series of persons who have gone to the APC. He even said some other governors, Bauchi governor or your governor, and some other governors will follow suit. It looks like the PDP is just losing all its prominent persons. How does that position your party for 2023 and the capacity of the party to move from being a minority party into a dominant majority party in 2023?
Tough one.
I would prefer that we do not dwell
no comment
on Fani Kayode.
I saw that coming.
In Igbo, there's a saying that Amagbo onye mkpụmkpụ na-atụ nkọjọ ya araghị ahụ. If you correctly describe a short man, finding him is very, very easy. I think Obasanjo had dealt with the matter of who Fani Kayode is. And
this guy, I love the local intelligence. I hope many of you understood what oh dear. So what Obasanjo, he just pushed the question to Obasanjo. What Obasanjo said, that he knows him very well, that if you give him chop, you you're very wicked, I tell you.
I think we should just leave that aside. Coming to the fact,
how did President Obasanjo describe him? How did President Obasanjo describe him?
I think we can find out that he already had made that statement. I won't have to repeat it here. But the point really, Ruben, is I listened to Governor Umahi this morning, and he was very emphatic on Channels Television. I said that, that Fani Kayode needs to come and apologize to him. How can he say that he brought him to APC? So you could see that already there are discordant tunes coming out from there. And I think we should just leave that. As for the fact that PDP is going to take over in 2023, the facts are very, very clear. Again, our people say that no la banaka and enyo. If you wear a gold bracelet, you don't need to be looking at it. Everybody knows that you're wearing a gold bracelet. Nobody in Nigeria today can say that where we were in 2015 is where we are today in 2021. Are we better off? Capital, no. And so when we go to the polls, we will see how Nigerians are going to express their feelings about the government in power. So we're not bothered about a few people who decide to make their decisions. It's their personal decision where to go. I would not go anyway. So I have nothing to talk about that, Ruben.
Southern Governors Forum meeting in Enugu.
Well, what I see from what the Southern governors did was a reiteration of their meeting both in Delta.
Just a quick one before I continue. I want to quickly bring us to what President Obasanjo said here. I will not read it. I would not read it with my mouth, but I would want you to read it for yourself. He says, so you can now understand the reason why Senator Nyinabaribe didn't want to say those words. This is what Obasanjo said. So that's why he didn't want to, and as a wise man that he is, I'm going to toe that line. I would also not read it.
Lagos. And all that they have thus done is that they continue to reiterate it. Presidency must come to the South, fiscal federalism to be enforced, and VAT collection. Of course, they are very right on VAT. VAT is not there in the exclusive list. VAT is not there on the concurrent list. And therefore, VAT is residual. Residual means that the states can make laws for it. Yeah. And I don't see how we can. In fact, if they want my advice, what I would say to the federal government is rather than using FIRS to be dragging unnecessarily, they should call all the attorneys general of the states, sit down,
strike a deal,
and hash out a resolution of this matter. And that should now take care of that. We can't be a federation. And then some people are breaching the law. The law is clear. VAT is not in the exclusive, no concurrent list. So the federal government has absolutely no say in that matter. I can understand the history. And I watched Ijewere yesterday when he said, this is how we came to this point, and this is what happened. And we can take in all those historical facts into consideration and our present realities, sit with everybody and hash out a solution, which is what federalism is all about.
But I can tell you, Senator, that the issue of VAT is actually past party takeover.
You will be a past participant. Yeah. Hey! Ebu agomia. One day we go me. Say yesterday you are a past. So very soon you shall be past. Party. One day, say tickle. Say tickle. One nana so you bane.
So the VAT that we are paying yesterday was passed. And the VAT that we are paying today is also passed. The VAT that we will pay tomorrow is nothing but takeover.
Well, still on the issue of the Southern Governors Forum, they also reiterated the importance of regional security. So my question is, what has happened to Ebube Agu in that clash with the ESN?
Fantastic question. What has happened to Ebube Agu? So we are now waiting for your answer.
And that also raises the issue you referred to earlier about the political solution, possible political solution for the current incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu as opposed to a legal solution. Because we haven't really seen the latest charges brought against him, but we can well imagine. In the last couple of days, the presidency has reiterated the fact that IPOB is a proscribed group, and presidential spokesman Garba Shehu mentioned how IPOB has regularly murdered security services and innocent civilians. So how will that Ebube Agu and ESN conflict in the Southeast be resolved, and how does that designation of IPOB and therefore its leader in these terms, how does that affect your attempt to find a political solution for his release?
Well, I wouldn't be in the best position to talk about Ebubeagụ because that is exactly the job of the chief security officers of the Southeast. Their job is to have that regional outfit. They signed up to it. They told us about it. They came together and informed the whole world that they have it. So I guess that they are in the best position to do so. As for the fact that the IPOB is proscribed and therefore you can't talk to them, and I do not think that that is correct. The fact is simple. They are showing that there is sympathy for them. True. And if you are in charge of a nation of diverse interests in the manner that we have, there must be a way for you
to engage,
resolve issues without being unduly legalistic. And I've said it here before. IPOB and is whatever they are doing now and the tag that they are giving them is the fault of the federal government.
Actually, IPOB and, the whatever they've become since 2016 is a total creation of the federal government. Is a creation of the Buhari, I'll put it this way, is a creation of the Buhari-led government. Because I sincerely believe, said this offline and I'm saying online, the government could have engaged differently. Under Goodluck Jonathan, there was IPOB, but the Goodluck Jonathan administration engaged differently. So not everything you can just, because you have a sledgehammer, any fly that flies across you, you kind of use sledgehammer to knock it down. Sadly, we found ourselves where we found ourselves, and I believe and I hope and I pray that the engagement by the National Assembly caucus, that they are going to get somewhere very soon, and if they can move quick, let's get solution quicker than later.
How can you, I repeat, how can you leave people who have been able to shoot down a military aircraft and you don't call them terrorists? And you now say, oh, these ones who are running around here are terrorists and you will never talk to them. Yet you are talking to those who shot down
an aircraft. Exactly. You see, that is what I'm saying. It is the creation of the federal government. It is the creation of federal government. I said it here. You might dislike Igboho. You might, it does, your view on Igboho, no matter how you look at it, I keep saying it. There would never have been an Igboho if the killings in the Southwest were addressed untimely. If they were addressed timely, on time, you wouldn't have had an Igboho. If at the point in 2016, a court of competent jurisdiction said, release Maazi Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally, you will never, and if you did, and no military was used, even when eventually, after much legal battle, when you disobeyed that court order, even when eventually released with stringent conditions, if there were no military invasion of Afaruku, we wouldn't be in this current mess. Take it or leave it. We are collectively in a bigger mess. And that mess is getting messier every day by the virtue of those who control power not being able to engage properly.
An aircraft. And so that is where the problem is. If the government is interested in having peace in our land, which is the first order of business of a government, which is the welfare and security of our people, then the Constitution, you have to explore all options. You don't write off one option and say, we won't do it. You write it off, the matter continues the way it is.
At your own
Who
detriment.
loses?
You.
At the end of the day, the presidency of President Buhari will go into history. Whatever his faults, is this thing, there will always be a reckoning in history. And if you want to be seen as the man who led Nigeria into its disintegration, then that is his decision to take. And so we have said, we are ready. We are part of the Southeast. We know some of the people who we can all bring together, governors, Ohanese, clergymen, everybody, and say, let's talk. And we have always said that. When I came here last time, I also said the same thing. I said, let's talk. Why wouldn't we talk? And so, for us from the Southeast, something is very, very difficult for us to comprehend. You're very willing to go and talk to foreign Fulanis who are invading Nigeria and causing mayhem here. You're very willing to talk to the people you call bandits. Of course, I've always told you here that I don't believe that they are bandits. They're terrorists. It's just that we're giving them a beautiful name. You're willing to pay ransom. You're willing to do all manners of negotiation with them. And we saw it. Why is it that when it comes to the Southeast, you're very unwilling? You want to bomb them. You want to do that. And I'll say one final thing. When you live in a country and your military is conducting sorties, air sorties, within your territory, I don't know what else you can call it. And so I don't like us coming and just pretending that there is no problem. We are in serious problem, and we need to deal with that.
All right, we'll take a short break. We'll come back to you, Senator Fulbright.
I do not, I think, or rather, okay, let me put it differently. I do agree with every single thing he said. Honestly, I do agree. Because we must begin to call a spade a spade.
I mean, it's not the buzzword in media any longer. We don't hear it. Nobody talks about it. When we talk about the East now, we talk about the conflicts and things happening in the East, the insecurity. So is it that it's rested for now? Is it something that probably Ohanese and Igbo might have to raise with President Buhari at some point, and probably the political parties? Where are we with this Igbo presidency?
I think, Rufai here, point of correction. There is nothing like Igbo presidency, please. I think you could say, Nigerian president of Southeast or Igbo extraction, because it is very wrong and misinforming to say Igbo presidency, because it's not.
Well, Rufai, first of all, running for any office, you have to do it within the milieu of a political party, especially as the fact that we do not have independent candidates. Two, let me borrow the words of my good friend Peter Obi, who said that Nigeria is an engine of a vehicle that has knocked. And
no, Nigeria is a vehicle without engine.
That you don't go and look for a driver for a knocked engine, because the vehicle will not move. So what you need is a mechanic, a good one that can repair the engine. And
that is it, people. We're going to be ending with that, because that is the point. You ask me, 1963, with current realities. What are the current realities? We have 6 geopolitical regions. Can they become the, geo-governing regions, or could we make it 8? Something must give way. A confederation, in my view, is the closest that will be very palatable to everyone. where you ask the people via a referendum, what do they want? And I don't know why we need to keep repeating this thing all the time.
I think that there are very good mechanics in the Southeast, just like there are mechanics everywhere, but very good mechanics in the Southeast. What has led to what you think is a lull is that both parties are going through a period of getting the party leadership set. And it is only after that that you will now see people come out to say, I would like to put my heart in the ring. And I think that it's a process that we are going to see in the next few months. As for myself, I do not think that those who are doing the job of presidency today are much better than me. So when the time comes.
So it's, and by the way, I must add, yes, they're not doing better than you, and they would not do better than you, but we must add, the presidency has actually not helped the holders. So that we must note that the presidency is not a golden bullet. Obasanjo was the president. I mean, the Yoruba nation hasn't become the Eldorado. Yar'Adua was a president for 3 years, and Katsina, including Buhari, 6 years, Yar'Adua 9 years non-stop, Katsina State 9 years non-stop, 3 plus 6 plus now, at the end of the day, it's going to be 11, hasn't helped anyone. Kaduna is getting, Katsina is getting pauperized every single minute. It's getting worse every single minute. Katsina is getting, the poverty level is mind-blowing, yet they control the presidency. The president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria cannot, without a battalion of army, visit his hometown, yet he's the president of a federal republic. Tell me in one sentence, how has the presidency helped Katsina? How has the presidency helped Buhari's village? How has the presidency helped Northwest? Again, it is an illusion that when you get the president, it's going to solve your problem. I bet you what will solve our problem is asking the people what they want, and the people make that decision in form of referendum to say, we want out, we want in. If we want to remain as an entity, question is how? What is the structure? Is it going to be a loose structure to develop at your own pace? You want to do whatever, build airports at every single street. Use your comparative advantage. What is it that you have that you can use in building your own yourself? Lagos, it has more population than Ghana, but in the larger context, Ghana is doing very well. Rwanda is not even, it's as tiny as anything you can think of. Rwanda is doing well. So at the end of the day, we must not only, box ourselves into just one corner and thinking, oh, it has to be this, it has to be the other one. Again, the same thing I say to those who say, let us restructure. The same thing I say to those who say, let us break it down, or break it entirely. There ought to be conversations and negotiations. No one, I found it a little bit irritating when someone says, oh, the only solution is you do this. No, there are multiple solutions. And one of the reasons why we are human is the ability to converse with one another, to understand where you're coming from. It's give and take. I give something. It's just like when we want to share a cow. If 100 people want to share cows, and you have one who's so vivacious, you can say, okay, I'll take half of it because he has a gun, or maybe he has something extraordinary that others don't have. Negotiation kicks in. It might, at the end of the day, get 1/3 of one of the legs. Yeah, it might be slightly bigger than others, but at least there must be a form of engagement, and that engagement is what we cannot stop engaging on.
I will let you know, Rufai, whether we will do much, much better. But like I said, the best mechanics are in the Southeast.
Well, okay, a number of issues that you address at that Southeast Caucus meeting. One of them is the sit-at-home order and all of that. The other is the Nnamdi Kanu case. The meeting resolved that a committee will be set up to engage with federal government stakeholders to find a solution to the continued detention of Maazi Nnamdi Kanu, and that the Southeast Caucus will report back to Indigbo on a regular basis. Now, when is that committee going to be set up, and what kind of intervention is the Southeast Caucus going to bring forward, considering that the matter is already in court? The second thing that was considered also was the attack on that command secondary school in Nkube, Njaba local government area of Imo State. Students who were not allowed to write their English papers in the current ongoing school living certificate examination. Is the Southeast Caucus going to make any effort, or has any effort been made to engage with WAEC, the examination body, to ensure that these innocent children do not all receive absent, a categorization of absent in English language, considering how important English is to any form of future admissions for these young persons at the tertiary level, that is.
Yes, I know that there is an Ohaneze committee that is engaging with that. That is trying to find what are the alternatives that we can make for these innocent children. They are innocent. They don't have anything to do with all these things, and they are suffering for it. As for the fact of what happened in Njaba local government, the real worry for everyone was that this sit-at-home had been called off. So we do not know who decided that day to go and visit this type of
mayhem,
injustice on the poor children who are looking to their future. And I think that's why a lot of people felt that these were not people who cared for their people. These are hoodlums and all manners of other people who are cashing in on this to do the whatever they have in mind to do. It's also possible that those who want to discredit another group may decide that, okay, let us also go to do this and blame it on that group. And so there are just too many scenarios that you can run. But all we are interested in is making sure that this does not happen again. So we are interfacing with Ohaneze, we are interfacing with the clergy to be sure that we find out. We're also interfacing with the governors because they also have superior information than us about what is going on and how we can tackle it. And I think that at the end of our deliberations, we will do so. We're having another meeting when we come in next week, and I think that by the time we have that meeting, that particular committee will have been set up. We're not going to announce the committee because it's unnecessary. What we're going to do is just to meet with the authorities, because this is a back channel movements we're going to do.
Exactly.
And when we do that, and if the outcomes, we have to regularly tell our people this is where we are at the moment and this is where we're going. As for the fact of having some legal impediments, we know that you can talk even while you're in court. People, I think lawyers do it every time. You can decide, okay, let us go out of court and settle. So the fact that something is in court does not mean that you cannot discuss it or that you're precluded from having reaching some kind of agreement on it. We are all Nigerians. We are all citizens of this country, and we all have the same protection under the law. And that's what we want to make sure that everyone gets.
There's been...
On that note, I leave it there. I think he gave a brilliant answer to that question. Now, people who say the Ojono masquerade, after dancing for so long and shakes the bum bum, we say whatever the masquerade learned in terms of music acrobatic is finished. In Igbo, we say Ojono bakata egwu bo ike. People, it's been a wonderful time to engage with us in the last hour and 30 minutes, in the last 90 minutes plus. And it's been again, like I said, it's been a pleasure to do these analysis with us, and for your time as well to have stayed with me. I do not take that for granted. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please, I beg you, you can click on this bell icon if you're watching me now on the second YouTube channel or on the main YouTube channel at Ginger Media TV, or you're watching me via Facebook on Ginger Media TV or the Periscope, Twitter, wherever you're watching me, like and share. On that note, I say thank you once more for being part of these broadcasts and these evening conversation. I might now have to dedicate 2 minutes only, to answer any questions that you may have. I'll take your first question here. Maazi, Obiano did not attend the Southern Governors meeting. Why? That's Afole. I wish I can speak to Obiano to find out why Obiano did not attend. Yes, Obiano did not attend. Obiano did not attend, and just like a couple of, actually, it must be said that none of the southeastern governors, aside the host, that is the Enugu State governor, actually attended. Anambra did not attend. Imo did not attend. Ebonyi did not attend. Abia did not attend. They all sent their deputies. I think the southeast and the south had a kind of a poor attendance, and the southwest were more, but again, no one knows the reason why the attendance was in that manner. So that's my honest and my candid, answer to that question. I take one other questions. Paponye.c is Obiano. No, they will soon decamp to APC. People, there is no difference between APC and PDP. It's like 6 and half a dozen. If someone who says this eventually becomes
some of the stance that you had is giving you this kind of trouble that you're seeing today is in crisis right now. Yeah. Are you sticking with the party?
But of course, the PDP is my party. I will never leave the party.
You're never considering going back to the APC?
I would never. The APC, absolutely out of the question. Until kingdom comes, until Jesus returns, that will never happen.
Last night I was sleeping with my one eye open. I was thinking, after this, that Jesus was about coming, because it says until Jesus come, and I was honestly thinking Jesus was coming last night. At some point, I was only sleeping with one eye like this, waiting to see when Jesus will come so that I can turn and say, catcher, Jesus, I caught you now, because I was pre-warned. Having said that, people, again, politicians, they do what they know how to do best. They crisscross, Even when they tell you that if you join the APC, maybe if you're a thief before and you join them, that they are going to forgive you of all your sins. You think I'm kidding? Watch.
Tony, Ilwobe means I don't do bad. And in fact, once you have joined APC, all your sins are forgiven. Once you have joined APC, all your sins are forgiven. All your sins are forgiven. All your sins are forgiven.
So all your sins are forgiven. So for those who have sins, go buy detergent and dine APC. Because if you do have sins, you're going to be forgiven. On that note, people, thank you once more for being part of this evening conversation. Once more, I am Maazi Ezeoke, signing off. Peace out.
Oh, come on. Afamumbo. Odudu Bariba, one of Africa. The spiritual warrior. Everybody just a sweet talk, but they don't like to conquer. They like to chop, and they don't want to walk. If you like making minimize, or you like to maximize, I like to analyze. If you like make you compromise, so most they walk up with the chop. Life is not balance. All fingers are not equal. Life in no balance. Oh yeah, make we check and balance. As we jolly they dance, many people they for plans. This life in no balance. We the hustle they find balance. Some people sit down for house, they walk on to the yana pata. Oh no, some seafood chop. Oh no, many no seafood chop. Oh no, some day for the top. Oh no, many people they for street they talk. Most they walk up with the chop. Life is not balance. All fingers are not equal. Most they walk up with the chop. Life is not balance. All fingers are not equal. Oh no, some seafood chop. Oh no, many no seafood chop. Oh no, some day for the top. Oh no, many people they for street they talk. Most they walk up with the chop. Life is not balance. All fingers are not equal. Most they walk up with the chop. Life is not balance. All fingers are not equal.